Okay, so good day, everyone, and welcome to the second semester of academic year 2022 to 2023. I am happy that we'll be joining or we'll be working together to understand and to learn more about science, technology, and society. So, I guess the very first question you have for me is that, sir, why do we need to study STS? STS has become an interdisciplinary field. When you say interdisciplinary field, science, technology, and society are closely linked together. The relationship is actually vital in understanding several phenomenons, problems, and issues that affect us and our society. So today we'll be briefly discussing what science is, technology is, and their relationship, no, among each other. Now, the first thing I would like you to, of course, understand is what science is. Although we've been defining science, or you've been defining science since you were in high school, but let's just have a recall of what science is. Science came from the word or the Latin word scientia, which means body of knowledge or knowledge. I remember the famous tagline of Ernie Baron. I don't know if you still know him, pero according to him, knowledge is power, and science is actually knowledge. And if you could recall, back when you were in high school, you were performing perhaps experiments and several observations which require a step-by-step procedure. That's why science is actually systematic and methodical in nature. Now, science aims to provide answers to several issues, problems, and concerns that needs explanation. Now, under science, we'll be talking about the several natures of it. And the first nature of science is that it is actually a scientific world view. Now, science is actually applicable not only to a specific race, a specific culture, and science seeks to answer not only the problems of a specific group, but when we talk about science, it is a world view. It is acceptable in the entire world. The problem in the Philippines is also the problem, let's say, in China and in other countries. One common example of the problems that we face today is, of course, climate change, right? And several disasters that we encounter. And science deals or tries to give answer or explanation to these phenomenons. That is why scientific is a science is a worldview. Okay. Now, under scientific worldview, we have the first subpoint, which is the world is understandable. Remember, science tries to discover, several patterns all over the world. Let's say when we talk about climate change, what what activities around the world led to the occurrence of climate change, and how can we regulate or how can we help in solving these problems. So scientists believe that through the use of intellect or through the use of knowledge, we can create several action plans or several instruments and several activities that could help in resolving several problems that we are facing right now. So until now, no, we still, human beings are unstoppable in their quest to understanding not only our world, but even outside our world or outside our planet. Di ba nga, there are several kumbaga, programs right now under NASA and under several organizations that seeks to understand the activities in the outer space, because they believe that when we understand what's happening on the outer space, we'll be able to have a clear view of our world itself or our planet itself. So that's just one typical example of how we seek to understand the world. Also, no, dito pa lang sa planet natin, we are actually trying to figure out and discover several phenomena. Like for example, yung recent lang, yung nangyari sa COVID-19, no? The occurrence of the COVID-19 actually created a spark, no? Uh, not only sa mga scientists sa US, but the scientists all over the world. Because if such things could happen, then perhaps pwede itong maulit. And now scientists are trying to answer and are trying to discover the occurrence of such pandemic. Ano pa ba? Yung pagkatunaw ngayon ng mga glaciers, no, sa North and South Pole, particularly sa Antarctica at saka sa Arctic Ocean, no, actually the melting of these glaciers led to the discovery of one of the biggest virus. I forgot the name of the virus, pero they were able to discover new species or new types of virus. And this discovery awakened the mind of several scientists that there are still a lot of things that we don't know about our world. So our quest, or one of the quests of science now, is to really understand the world itself. No, not only the living things but also the non-living things. No, and those things that are not seen by the naked eye. Now, under scientific worldview, we also have scientific ideas are subject to change. Although there are laws of science that are constant. Let's say, for example, the law of gravity by Sir Isaac Newton. No, the law of gravity is already established. So wala na yan. I mean, hindi na siya mapapalitan. However, there are still theories that are subject to change and subject to experimentation and needs more evidence. Perhaps one of the theories that I could share to you is the theory of the oscillating universe. So, under that theory, it states that the universe is expanding, and when it reaches a certain point, it will shrink again. So, actually, it has already been debunked because of the discovery of the Hubble telescope. And if you're familiar, the one who discovered or created the Hubble telescope is no other than Edwin Hubble. The creation or the discovery of the Hubble telescope led to the generalization or led to the discovery that the universe continuously expands and it's not shrinking, or it will never reach a point and it will shrink. So nowadays, the theory of the oscillating universe has already been debunked. So that's an example that subject or scientific ideas are subject to change. There are still theories that needs more evidence before it become a law. And uh, as our world experiences change, as we are subject to change, of course, several ideas and several knowledge about science are still subject to change. So yun lamang yung gustong i-point out nito. Next, under scientific worldview, we also have scientific knowledge is durable. Pag sinabi nating durable, no, it has stability. It is, kumbaga, it could stand the test of time. And as we all know, no, although there are modifications of ideas, and some ideas or theories might be rejected or debunked. However, these ideas, once established, like yung mga laws na meron tayo ngayon, like yung mga, sabi ko nga, yung gravitational or yung law of gravity ni Sir Isaac Newton, the law of thermodynamics and whatsoever, lahat yan, no, it has survived the test of time, and kumbaga it's already widely accepted. That's why it is already durable. Now, ang mga subject to change lang, of course, are yung mga theories na nangangailangan pa ng further evidence or experimentations. So, yun yung mga subject to change. However, generally, scientific knowledge is durable. It is stable and it will stand the test of time. And of course, it is acceptable by all. Okay, next, under scientific worldview, we also have science cannot provide complete answer to all questions. One typical example dito is yung kanilang claim about God. Okay, there are, of course, and we Filipinos, we believe in God, but there are other countries out there, other people that doesn't believe, no, that God really exists. However, there are still a lot of things that are unexplainable by science. Okay, one example dito yung mga ano bang tawag dito? Yung disappearances, let's say, ng mga tumors or ng cancer itself, no? And to those believers, no, they actually believe that it's their faith who healed them, and that there is this supernatural being, a God, that made it possible. And until now, no, science cannot explain such phenomena. There are actually a lot of testimonies, let's say, na may mga, because of prayer, because of their faith, na wala yung cancer and tumor. Now, science tries to explain that, pero kumbaga hanggang ngayon, no, still, nandun pa rin siya sa gray area. One actually phenomena also is the Big Bang Theory, or one theory na parang still parang kiniklaim ng mga, or na kini-question ng mga religious people, is yung Big Bang Theory. Of course, we all know that the Big Bang Theory originated, the universe originated from the Big Bang Theory, a big explosion which led to the creation of the stars, the planets, and whatnot. However, ang question kasi ng mga religious people is that saan nagmula yung Big Bang Theory na yon, or yung ball na yon, no, na sumabog. And when you ask religious people, they will tell you that it is God who created that big ball na nag-explode. Another yung sinasabi nilang cell theory, that all living organisms and everyone na nakikita natin, or everything na nakikita natin, ay nagmula sa single cell. Of course, no, ang question ulit ng mga religious people doon is that saan nagmula yung cell na yon? Okay? And uh, kumbaga, dyan nagkakaroon kumbaga ng gray areas, and until now, those gray areas are unresolved. Kumbaga hanggang ngayon, still needs further evidence. Kumbaga. Okay. Next, we have the next nature of science is scientific inquiry. Now, when you say inquiry, of course, it came from the word inquire. No, you continuously seek and find answers, no, until such evidence proves it. Okay, and when we talk about scientific inquiry, the first subpoint here is science demands evidence. Of course, pag sinabi nating science, hindi pwedeng mawawala ang evidence. Okay? Kapag sinabi mong science, it needs facts. It needs accurate data. And it must be obtained through procedures that are acceptable, like, of course, experimentation, no, laboratory procedures, and whatnot. So pag sinabi natin scientific inquiry, laging kaakibat ng science ang evidence. Okay? They need data to prove their claims. And of course, kapag hindi kayang i-prove yan ng data, kapag walang data, walang evidence, walang facts, that is not science. But we call that hearsay or superstitious belief. Okay? Next, we also have science is a blend of logic and imagination. You know, kapag sinabi natin science, it always originates, no, from curiosity. No, the reason why our scientists and philosophers before were able to come up with their claims right now, those laws and those theories, is because they started, no, with their curiosity. No, they try to imagine, no, bakit kaya they try to ask questions, and they try to imagine, no, let's say before, no, noong unang panahon siguro, they try to ask bakit kaya may umaga, bakit kaya may gabi, no, bakit kaya solid yung bato, I mean, what is the component, or ano kaya yung bumubuo sa stone na yon, bakit siya ganoon ka-solid, bakit kaya tayo nabubuhay, ano yung mga factors involved, and whatnot. So from those imaginations, from those curiosity, they were able to come up with several assumptions. And those assumptions, as they were tested, they now have these principles, laws, and of our theories and laws. Of course, they were when we talk about imagination, you also use your senses. That is why, when you see something, when you hear something, when you smell something, no, especially in the mga unang panahon, they were really curious, no, about so many things. And that led to several principles of logical reasoning. Kaya nga pag sinabi natin scientific inquiry, it's actually a blend of logic and imagination. Okay? Now, under scientific inquiry, we also have science explains and predicts. Remember, the credibility of scientific theories often comes from their ability to show relationships among phenomena that previously seemed unrelated. Now, on top of that, pag sinabi natin science explains and predict, no, there should be this consistency, no, from the problem itself to the methodology they use to explain such phenomena, and of course from the conclusion they have derived. Kailangan merong consistency yan. No, it's not enough that you create hypothesis. Kaya nga doon sa sinabi ko sa inyo na step by step process sa science, it begins with identifying the problem. Now, after you identify the problem, you start gathering information. Now, you try to seek no related literatures, or you read informations that are related to those problems. After gathering enough information, you start creating a hypothesis. So you make a hypothesis, an educated guess, but it doesn't stop there. No, you need to prove whether your hypothesis is right or wrong. That's why you need to start create making experimentations. You start observing things, and after doing several experimentations, then you come up with this with the conclusion. And out of this conclusion, you can now answer whether your principle or your findings are actually accurate, true or not. So science explains and predicts. Now, under scientific inquiry, we also have scientists try to identify and avoid bias. You know, scientists are also human beings, and sometimes kung saan sila nag-originate or kung saan culture sila galing, saan race sila galing, nandoon lagi yung bias. But remember, we should be able to identify what is true to all. Kaya nga ang science, hindi lang yan true to a particular group or true to a particular race. It should be true to all at wala siyang bias. And although nandyan din yung claim na sometimes there are experimentation, or there are scientists who claim that their findings are kumbaga the most accurate, or let's say the truest of all. Of course, when ang basis lagi ng science is yung experimentation and yung evidence, no? Yung data na nag-gather from such observation or experimentation to avoid bias. Because the moment na nagkaroon na yun ng bias, then it will somehow, kumbaga, affect, no? The theory and the laws or the principles behind such claims. Kaya nga importante na mas safeguard yung credibility ng experimentation and ng observation, so that when they come up with a factual data, it's really an evidence that will try to prove their claim, no, on whatever actions or whatever problems they're trying to resolve. Okay, now under scientific inquiry, no, science is not authoritarian. Remember, there is no such thing as a complete authority when it comes to science. And as I've mentioned, science is evolving, science is changing, except, of course, for those principles that have already been established and it became a law. But until such, no, they still need, no, to be, kumbaga, proven as time passes by. And please remember that science is not the complete authority. Or when you, let's say, for example, a certain scientist claims that his theory is, kumbaga, a complete authority of that particular field, hindi pwede iyon. No? Remember, theories are judged by their results. So, kailangan lagi na accompanied, no, ng data, accompanied lagi ng evidence ang science. And their claims should be factual. Okay? Now, the last nature of science is that it is a scientific enterprise. Now, under scientific enterprise, we have science as a complex social activity. Alam nyo, every time science introduce something, let's say theory man yan, a procedure man yan, or a law man yan, remember, people sometimes people sometimes are hesitant. And we might admit it or not, we are always hesitant for change, no? Because we sometimes have this status quo mentality na kumbaga, why change if we have already kumbaga, this existing, let's say, procedure or activity na nakakatulong naman na sa atin. However, remember, science goal is to always improve our life. It's to make our life comfortable. One typical example, no, na application nito ngayon is yung modernization ng ating jeepney. Although makikita natin na maganda yung kanilang purpose, no, i-improve, i-modernize, i-innovate yung ating mga jeepneys, makikita ninyo that there are still other factors that needs to be considered. And of course, nandyan yung hesitancy, nandyan yung pagpalag ng mga tao na why do we need to change? Because our jeepneys are, let's say, it has a cultural significance sa atin. It's one of our cultural identity. But remember, no, we need to change for the better. And this is the reason why science is a complex social activity. No, it needs a lot of meetings, it needs a lot of deliberations bago matanggap yung certain finding or procedure na i-introduce no ng science. Another example nito no yung sa nowadays sa ating Food Innovation Center, because we have our center here funded by DOST, we are creating a lot of technologies and procedures that would help no several entrepreneurs. One na na-experience ko is yung sa kalamay, yung sa kandon kalamay. You know, the kandon kalamay has a shelf life of 2 to 3 days. And ang complaint ng ating mga kababayan abroad is that they could not bring it sa kanilang loved ones na naninirahan sa ibang bansa because madaling ang masira. Now, we have this new technology, yung vacuum packaging, wherein it can prolong no the shelf life of calamay to 28 days. No, could you imagine that? So that's a big help. However, when it was introduced no doon sa mga gumagawa ng calamay sa Candon, Ilocos Sur, nagkaroon sila ng hesitancy kasi of course no lalabas sila doon sa kanilang comfort zone and they're going to be out of the box na. So nagkaroon ng hesitancy, but in the long run, as you try to explain and convince them with facts and evidences, doon siya nagiging significant. And doon nila na-realize na really, no, science is beneficial. And in order for us to improve and innovate, we really need science. Okay. Next, we have scientific enterprise. Under scientific enterprise, I should say, is science is organized into content disciplines and is conducted in various institutions. Remember, no, ang science, hindi lang siya nag-i-stay sa isang institution, let's say sa ating university. It's not enough that you learn science inside the classroom. You have to bring out science so that it could benefit, no? It could be an answer to the problems of the people in the society. Sabi nga nung ating DOS secretary ngayon, no, it's not enough that science remains as a knowledge. It's not enough that science remains in research. It should be converted into technology, converted into inventions, and later on, it should help no the people in our community to have a better life or a better, let's say, business, better lifestyle, and whatnot. Okay, so science is organized into content disciplines and is conducted in various institutions. Now, another under scientific enterprise is that, of course, there are generally accepted ethical principles in the conduct of science. Hindi pwede no na basta na lang gumagawa ng procedures. Although kahit sabihin natin scientific pa yan, there are certain limitations, no? Ethical standards na kailangang sundin. One of the ethical standards na kailangang sundin is, of course, hindi pwedeng gawing guinea pig ang mga tao. Hindi pwedeng, let's say, mag-create sila ng drug or ng bagong medicine. Hindi pwede na agad-agad nila itong itetest sa tao without proper channeling and procedure. No? At hindi pwede dapat na kumbaga, nagre-create tayo ng mga products or ng mga technologies that are harmful. Well, generally, wala namang technology na na-create ang science na harmful sa atin. It's all how we use that technology that matters. Of course, no, nandyan yung mga ethical considerations na kailangan nating sundin. When we talk about ethics, it's about what is right and wrong. Okay? So, kailangan lahat yan, lahat ng gagawin under science and technology should be under an ethical standard para din maprotektahan tayo, no? Because if not, then nandiyan yung mga mapang-abuso, nandiyan yung mga tao na ang gusto lang ay gumawa ng masama. And if walang ethical standards sa science, then lahat tayo mamimiligro. Okay? Next one, we have scientists participate in public affairs both as a specialist and as citizens. Remember, bago pa man naging scientist or specialist itong mga nag-aaral sa science, they are first and foremost citizens and they are considered to be stakeholders of the community. So, andyan dapat na i-consider nila yung public interest, no, ng ating community. Na lahat ng gagawin under science, lahat ng discoveries, lahat ng mga inventions, ng mga bagong procedures, theories, and laws should be for the common good of the people. And it should never benefit only no themselves, a few, at hindi para lang magpayaman. Pero sadly, reality bites, ika nga, no, maraming mga gumagawa daw kunwari ng technology, pero ang nakakalungkot, na aabuso ito. At ang nakikinabang lang ay yung mga mayayaman na or yung mga mapang-abuso sa lipunan. And I hope no na talagang maiwasan at maalis itong ganito and kumbaga ma-serve kung ano talaga ang purpose ng science and technology, and that is of course to make our life better and to answer no problems in our community. Okay, I think this is the last one. Okay, now that we're done with science and its nature, of course, bilisan ko lang ito kasi it's just an application, okay, or an introduction. Technology, on the other hand, is the application of science. It actually came from the Greek word techne, meaning art, skill, or cunning of hand. Remember, no, it involves the development and innovation of materials, tools that could help, no, make our lives better and fulfill no our needs and our desires. Now, please bear in mind na kapag sinabi natin technology, hindi lamang ito yung mga cellphones, hindi lamang ito yung mga laptops o yung mga machines na nakikita natin sa bahay natin. Everything around us is actually considered technology. One example dyan, your pencil. No? Pencil is a technology. It was actually created and made so that we could, an ease. So we could have an ease in writing, no, whatever ideas we have in mind. Andyan din yung paper, no? Andyan yung tissues. Andyan pati yung ating mga plates, no? And everything na nakakatulong or nagagamit natin para ma-elevate or makapagdulot ito no, ng kaginhawaan sa ating buhay. So that is actually technology. Now, to help you or for para naman may gawin din kayo no for this class no you'll be asked or will be divided into groups. I've already sent messages sa inyong mayor, and then you will be divided into group. Now this time I want you to think, I want you to brainstorm among yourselves now how what is the relationship of science, technology, and society. Now I want you to pinpoint or include now the advantages and disadvantages brought by science and technology to our society. Now I have here the rubric. Now please use it in creating your Venn diagrams. Now you'll be presenting your Venn diagrams in our next meeting, and please follow the guidelines I have sent no sa inyong mayor. And I am hoping na you'll be conducting research about this, and you'll be including on your presentation significant ideas and information related to the relationship of science, technology, and society. And please don't forget to include examples as well, no, para mas maging meaningful yung inyong discussion. So that would be all for our first topic under science, technology, and society. So I will be seeing you next time. See you and God bless. Bye bye.